Built in 1999 and designed by architects Geoff and Jane Wetherall, Glick House was both a residence and a place of work for established WA artist Rodney Glick. Challenging the status quo, this almost monolithic structure was inspired by industrial buildings of its time and is considered an exemplar by the Heritage Council of infill development and late 20th century functionalist style.
Getting a planning approval for this project was very arduous. It's fascinating that several years later, this house was referred to as a model on how to do an interesting creative infill in the local area. And I guess that just reflects the conservative nature of the built environment in Western Australia. And we were lucky to be part of creating this with Rodney and his dad.
Rodney, who is an established artist, then is looking also for an adaptable working space because he has different formats for his work and he wants to be able to live here and with his daughter and work here.
I guess the objective, can we create volume I can work in and live in it as well?
I had quite a lot of involvement in the world of local painters and artists and sculptors, etc. I kind of knew Rodney, and so one day he contacted us and asked if we'd be interested in designing a house for him.
In the studio, and he had a photograph of a small foundry, which was a metal building with a kind of staircase on the side. It was only small. So he said, could we use that as an inspiration? Jumped at that idea of saying, let's kind of run with something really kind of unusual and different. I guess one of the good things about working with artists is you can question everything that's conventional. And so this house had a lot of conversations wrapped around it. If you look at this compared to a traditional house of the time, it's vertically stacked rather than horizontally stacked. And you go up the staircase, which is outside, not inside the house, and onto the roof, which is the garden. And so all that is, in a way, stacked rather than stretched out. And it's quite unusual, or very unusual at the time.
Brick terraces were not really a thing back then, so it was a real win to get that into the project.
Yeah, the views on that roof deck are really inspiring. And I think almost everyone who goes up there were quite surprised because you don't get that feel of the long view. It's quite a gift. You would never be able to perceive that because there was no way possible at the time you could have built a 3-story house. But being able to stand on the roof, you get a 3-story view. The form of the building is just a rectangular box, I suppose. And there's no pretensions to being aesthetically pleasing. But that was quite deliberate because Rodney was an artist that had a practice at the time that was quite diverse. So he was not only a painter, but a sculptor. And he worked a lot in found materials or existing materials or industrial materials. And so that was kind of inspiring to work with a kind of raw palette of materials.
It's allowed people to live in here in different ways. It's quite fascinating to see this current iteration, which is such a greener, lusher version of the original quite stark industrial aesthetic, and it holds it really well.